This is the new Ferrari Amalfi, the newest offering from the brand and its new entry point. But I wouldn't let that fact discourage you from considering it, because the Amalfi may very well be one of the best brand new Ferraris that money can buy. So I'll talk you through its design, take it out for a quick road test before ending with my final thoughts. But before all of that, let me give you the brochure bits. The Amalfi has a 3.9-liter twin-turbo V8 from the F154 family of motors, so you'll find an iteration of this engine in the 488, the F8 Tributo, and the SF90 Stradale, only here it makes 631 horsepower and 560 pound-feet of torque, and it sounds like this. Drive goes exclusively to the rear wheels, and thanks to an 8-speed DCT gearbox, 0 to 60 is done within 3.3 seconds, onto a top speed of 198 miles per hour, all for an MSRP of $266,810 without options. Now, I would expect that most car builds will sit around the high $200,000 to low $300,000 mark, which will put it right around the same price as its competitors, the Bentley Continental GT and Aston Martin V8 Vantage. Now, compared to the Roma, the car that the Amalfi actually replaces, this will produce 20 more horsepower, and despite appearances, it's actually pretty much the exact same size, being only 4 millimeters longer, but then again, every millimeter counts.
On the numbers front, the Amalfi is right where it needs to be, both in terms of performance and price, but standing at the entry point of the Ferrari lineup is a big responsibility and can't be satisfied with just numbers. After all, Ferrari as a brand is so much more than a spec sheet. Take for example the looks. Ferraris are meant to be beautiful, and while it is a matter of opinion, I think the Amalfi is stunning to look at. It's the same appeal that I would imagine some paintings have, so if you put the Amalfi in an art museum, I'd stand there stroking my chin and saying things like, It isn't just pretty either. The Ferrari Styling Center worked closely with the Thermofluid Dynamics white coats to ensure that their artful decisions coexisted with performance considerations. This collaboration can be seen in things like the ducts above the headlights. They provide vital cooling air to the engine and reduce pressure, yet, looking at the front end, they're subtle. They serve their function without interfering with form.
I want to talk for a minute, if I may, about the V8, which, as I've mentioned before, is borrowed from other iconic Ferraris, only here it redlines at 7,600 RPM. It has an advanced turbo management system which will individually monitor the rotational speed of the turbos up to their max speed of 171,000 RPM, and the result of that is improved acceleration and boost control. The engine control unit is borrowed from the 296 Purosangue and 12 Cilindri. It has a new lightweight camshaft which saves 1.3 kilograms, and thanks to the precision machined block, you save an additional kilogram. They even use low viscosity oil, which provides a 30% improvement in cold resistance that results in better warm-up efficiency. The torque curve has been remapped, so you have more torque in the mid to high range, and that will give you a more spirited drive. There's even a new bypass valve with engineered maps, so you have a different exhaust note depending on your driving conditions.
The Amalfi benefits from the experience of other models in the lineup. As with any Ferrari, you get with the Amalfi a collection of acronyms. First, ABS Evo, a system debuted in the 296 GTB, improved in the Purosangue 12 Cilindri, and now is found in the Amalfi. It's basically a series of sensors that will determine the optimal slip for each wheel based on a collected data, so you have a more efficient and stable braking characteristics. You have SSC 6.1, so you can have some fun without raising your insurance premium. EPS, which evolved from the 296, which will assess the tire to tarmac grip levels for more responsive steering. There are 3 different configurations for the Active Aero wing, LD, MD, and HD, all of which will be employed depending on the speed, longitudinal, and lateral acceleration.
The interior of the Amalfi is where you really start to see it taking steps, leaps, and bounds ahead of the Roma that it replaces. And the first thing that you're going to notice is the steering wheel and the fact that it brought back the tactile experience of physical buttons. All the haptic feedback buttons are gone from the steering wheel, and they've even brought back the anodized aluminum red start-stop button. But it doesn't just stop with the steering wheel. The entire interior has been revamped and really looks like that of the 12 Cilindri. You have the 15.6-inch instrument cluster, so that's going to give you all of your pertinent driving information. The infotainment screen is 10.25 inches. It's horizontal as opposed to vertical in the Roma, and they removed that central bridge, so it really opened up the interior, made it feel more spacious. As for the screen itself, it's good. It's very responsive, the controls are simple, and I can reach everything without having to lean, so it's a good size. Then of course you have your 8.8-inch passenger display so that they can be involved in the whole driving experience as well. Honestly, if you closed my eyes and put me in this car and took off that Amalfi badge on the dash, I wouldn't know that I was in the least expensive Ferrari. It feels just as good as any other Ferrari. And it being a Ferrari, there's plenty of nice materials that you'll constantly be touching. Plenty of leather, some nice aluminum, carbon fiber if you option it, deviated stitching. There are some plastic bits, but as you can see, I can shake everything about and there's no creaking or rattling. It's a very well put together interior. Now, interior aside, one of the biggest and arguably most important aspects of a Ferrari being a Ferrari is how it drives. So let's see how the Amalfi performs on that front. Real quick before the drive, I want to give you a great way to support the channel. I regularly release these automotive-themed graphic tees that I designed myself, like this Ferrari carriage design. So if you are interested, I'll leave a link in the description down below, or you can visit CarCaveClub.com to pick one up for yourself or for a loved one. They are an amazing way of supporting the channel, and I really do appreciate it. But enough of that, let's get to the business of road testing the Ferrari Amalfi. Behind the wheel of the Amalfi, and first impressions are really quite good. You see, reading about this car, it gives you the impression that it really has multiple personalities. And driving it is the only way to confirm that, and it is true. It's such a comfortable car, which I now have it in comfort. It soaks up the bumps. Not good for a sports car or for a supercar, good full stop. This is a comfortable car. The layout of the infotainment screen is fantastic as well. Everything's easy to find. I don't have to go through 15 menus to get where I want to go. Then you have the gauge cluster. I'm traditionally not a fan of digital gauges, but this one does the job really well. In none of the driving that I've done today have I had any issues with glare blocking the screen. Then, at the flip of a switch, I can put it into sport mode. The exhaust will wake up. I push down here to put it into manual, and the responsiveness of that gearbox is instantaneous. It almost feels like it selects the gear before I've decided to shift down or up. It feels like a learned car. And what I mean by that is, rather than having a bunch of new tech that the car is trying to figure out and the manufacturer is constantly releasing recalls for, this car feels like a decade of experience that's made its way into this perfect package to show the latest and greatest that the brand has to offer. It's a great Ferrari. It truly does drive like a Ferrari. Driving a Ferrari is not something that you can really explain. It's something that you have to experience. And for the people that have driven Ferraris, they know exactly what I'm talking about. We're not talking about performance, we're talking about feeling. And Ferraris feel unlike any other brand out there. One of the benefits of these entry-level cars in brands is that there's no regret in driving the car. As you move up the model lineup, you start to worry more about value. You start to be more stingy with mileage. You start to question, should I drive that car? I might lose a few $100s in value. But on entry cars, there's no reason to feel that way. There's no reason to think that way, because that's not what these cars are for. They're designed and made to be driven and enjoyed. And that, to me, makes them the perfect cars to buy. Now, if you have the money to go and buy an F80 and put 25,000 miles on it and not worry about it, more power to you. Do it, and you should. But even in the world of Ferraris, that's just not the norm. And so if you want to get into this brand, if you want to experience why people love Ferrari as much as they do, this is kind of the perfect car to do that in. And they do hold their value. Obviously, they're going to depreciate. All cars do, except for the special edition Ferraris. But if you look at the used car market, particularly against its competitors like the Bentley Continental GT or the Aston Martin V8 Vantage, you can get a Bentley or an Aston Martin for a third of their original MSRP, where Romas are holding very strong in the low $200,000 to mid $200,000 range. So yes, technically you lose a little bit of money, but I wouldn't consider it losing money. You're spending money to be able to enjoy this car, and you're spending less than you would with the competitors, and you're getting the experience of owning, driving, and enjoying a Ferrari.
Driving done, what are my final thoughts? I stand by what I said behind the wheel. The Amalfi delivers a Ferrari experience in every sense. Looks, power, performance, driving pleasure all come together in this GT. They just happen to do so for less money than other Ferraris. I would have liked to have driven the car harder in an environment deserving of its performance, but maybe it's good that I didn't, because it gave me the opportunity to see what the Amalfi was like to live with. When there was a gap or a twisty bit of road, I could quickly switch the driving mode, have my fun, and return to a comfortable cruiser when traffic interfered. The AC worked wonders, the seats were supportive and easy to get in and out of, and while the visibility out of the back was questionable, the front view was excellent. The interior is where the Amalfi really shined for me, having addressed some of the everyday pitfalls of the Roma. It was just a nice place to be, easy to use, so I could focus on the task of enjoying the drive. All the more reason why the Amalfi serves as a worthy welcome to the Ferrari brand.
That's all for this video. I want to say a huge thank you to Ferrari South Bay for giving me access to the new Amalfi. So I will leave all of the regular links in the description down below to their website and social media. Now, this specific car happens to actually be their demo unit. So if you're in the market for the Amalfi, feel free to stop by their showroom and see it in person. It really is something to behold. Otherwise, leave me a comment down below with your thoughts on my thoughts. Use it as a platform to share your final thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful and entertaining. And I hope to see you in the next one, but until then, stay safe and take care.